in about a week at the same website. I'd now like to turn it over to our first presenter, Binghamton University.
Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Tanya Barajas. I'm one of the admissions counselors here at Binghamton University. You are welcome to ask questions in the Q&A box. My colleague Stephanie is here to help answer those questions. So I thought to begin, we would go ahead and travel on over to Binghamton University. So I invite you to come travel on with me. We are located about 3 hours northwest of New York City in the town of Binghamton, New York. So students do really get the best of both worlds here. You get beautiful access to the rolling hills and the nature preserve that we have here on campus. We also have our downtown center, which is just 5 miles away. Binghamton University is a mid-sized campus with a little over 13,800 students. It is part of the SUNY system, so that's an acronym that stands for State University of New York. It is the largest system of public higher education in the country with 64 campuses. Binghamton is one of 4 university research centers within SUNY, and of the 4, it is the most selective. So it has earned the name of the #1 public research university in the state of New York. Students can choose from over 130 different majors and minors. They are organized in our 6 schools. So we have our Harper College of Arts and Sciences, our College of Community and Public Affairs, our Decker School of Nursing, we have our School of Management, we have our School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences, and we also have our School of Engineering. Binghamton University also has what it likes to call the Binghamton Impact. So this refers to both your experience on campus, but also giving you that platform to have the impact that you want to have after you graduate. So it is a collection of experiences and opportunities that students can have. One of them is through research. We are a Tier 1 research university, so we have a couple special programs for undergraduate students. Our first year research immersion program, or FRI as it's called, is only one of 4 of its kind in the country and the only one on the East Coast. It allows students to do research in 1 of 10 research streams in the STEM field. So a couple examples include a stream in neuroscience. There's one called Community and Global Public Health. There's another one in microbial biofilms, just to name a few. We also have an opportunity for students to do undergraduate research in the social sciences and humanities through the SOURCE project. So very similarly structured, students can do research in their first 2 semesters at Binghamton University. So those are a couple of our honors programs that we have here. We also have great professional development opportunities. Our Fleischman Center can help students with selecting and applying to internships, creating a cover letter, creating a resume, doing mock interviews, also negotiating offers after students get those internship offers or get those job offers. We have service learning opportunities on our campus. This is a way for students to integrate into the local community through credit-bearing courses that they can take. For example, we had a group of students last year who created a STEM program for local elementary school students, and they earned credits for that program. Also through education abroad. So because we're a member of SUNY, students at Binghamton University can access all of the study abroad programs that are in the SUNY system. So that's over 1,000 different programs that students can access. So we do have a lot of opportunities for students here on campus. Some quick Binghamton by the numbers for you. As I said before, we are a mid-sized campus with a little over 13,800 students. What I really like to do is to bring your attention down to that 92% retention rate. That is something that we are very proud of, especially when you compare it to the national average. So what that tells us is that students are getting what they need to succeed. They're coming back, they're persisting, and we see that they are graduating on time and they're having excellent outcomes. We give you some historical data here too with regard to high school GPA and also SAT and ACT scores. So what this is saying is that within the past year, of the students who were admitted to Binghamton University, the middle 50% had a GPA between 93 to 98 out of 100, or between 3.7 to 3.9 out of 4.0. So we are welcoming students from all over the US, all over the world, but something that they have in common is that they're very bright, and they're very high achieving. So hopefully this is exciting for you, gives you a little glimpse of your future classmates. They're going to challenge you in a good way. A little note about Binghamton: we are test optional. Actually, all the SUNY campuses are test optional for this year and going into spring as well. So if you weren't able to take SAT or ACT, I'll go back to that slide actually, just so that you can see. If you weren't able to take SAT or ACT, that's okay. You will not be penalized for that. We are primarily going to be looking at your school grades during the application process, but we do have a number of students who do ask to submit scores. So again, these are the mid-ranges of the students who were admitted to Binghamton. We give you the mid-ranges for math, evidence-based reading and writing, and then also ACT scores. So I think I'm doing pretty well on time. If you do have any questions, feel free to email us at admit@binghamton.edu. My name again is Tanya Barajas. You can email me personally at tbarajas@binghamton.edu. And if you'd like more information about a specific major or any of the programs I talked about, you can go ahead and scan that QR code there. Thanks so much.
Thank you. And our next institution that you will be hearing from today is Clarkson University. So if you, just a reminder, if you can please make sure that you add the name of the institution to any questions that you are asking. The Q&A is open, so any questions that you have, please drop them in the Q&A. And if it's directed to a specific institution, feel free to write that institution's name so they can address it. So I will pass it over to Clarkson University.
Thanks so much, Annabelle. Hello, my name is Sue Bynum, and I'm actually a graduate of Clarkson and now represent Clarkson here on the West Coast. Clarkson is in the beautiful town of Potsdam, New York, which is you see a picture of it here on the screen. It's actually about 20 miles from Canadian border as the crow flies, about an hour south of Ottawa, the capital of Canada, and about 2.5 hours north of Syracuse. I really think Clarkson is a great option for students interested in engineering, technology, business, and other career-focused programs, but looking for a smaller, more supportive environment. Clarkson has only about 3,000 undergraduate students and about 1,000 grad students with an 11-to-1 faculty to student ratio. Students actually apply to the university, not a specific school or major, and none of Clarkson's programs are impacted or limited. This really results in a cooperative, supportive academic environment and provides more flexibility for students to customize their programs. About half our students pursue one of our 8 engineering majors in the School of Engineering. In addition, we offer 12 engineering minors and concentrations in areas like biomedical engineering, architectural engineering, and structural engineering for students that want more specialization. One of our most unique programs in the School of Business is our Engineering and Management program, which is accredited as both an engineering and a business major. And it's really a fabulous blend of both programs, and similar to a dual degree program that UC Berkeley offers here on the West Coast. Other business majors include global supply chain, business analytics, and innovation entrepreneurship. Our new Shipley Center for Innovation is really a focal point for innovation entrepreneurship across campus, with a lot of different initiatives going on campus. Our School of Engineering offers our School of Arts and Sciences offers a wide range of programs, including computer science, biomolecular science, digital arts and science, and social documentation. Biology is also a popular major, as many of those students enroll in our pre-health professional tracks like pre-med, pre-occupational therapy, pre-physical therapy, and pre-physician assistant programs. We also have graduate programs in occupational therapy, physical therapy, and physician assistants as students want to stay on campus to complete those certifications as graduate programs. Lastly, all of our majors require an internship, co-op, or research project, and we really are focused on getting students to get that hands-on experience in their field of study. We encourage students to talk to faculty about research opportunities, even as freshmen. Clarkson hosts over 200 companies twice a year at our career fairs, and we had a virtual one this fall, of course. And you can talk to industry representatives about both the internship opportunities as well as full-time jobs. Clarkson also offers study abroad programs in 28 countries around the world. You can check our International Center on the Clarkson website. I also like to highlight that we offer a semester in the Adirondack Mountains as an alternative to semester abroad as part of our Institute for Sustainable Environment. Being in Northern New York, we are a big hockey school with both men and women Division I hockey teams. We also have 9 Division III sports for both men and women, including basketball, swimming, lacrosse, alpine, and Nordic skiing. For such a small university, we only have about 200 clubs. We have about 200 clubs, intramural sports, and tons of activity on campus. About 88% of the students stay on campus all 4 years, and about 15% are involved in Greek life. One of our most popular programs is our SPEED teams. You'll see the acronym here stands for Special Programs for Engineering Experience and Design. We have 12 different projects that students can join. And it's just a great way to get that first hands-on experience with an engineering process. We have a huge facility to support this program, and it's extremely popular on campus. And I've got a list here of all the projects that you could be involved in, including FIRST Robotics, Clean Snowmobile, Chemi Car, and Design, Build, and Fly. And you can see here what we're highlighted where we actually have won some of the competitions here. And so we've done very well with these programs. I'd like to highlight some of our admissions information. And I think I failed to mention early on that we have about 3,000 students as undergraduates on campus and about 1,000 graduate students. So it's a very nice, small environment. We do get about 8,000 applicants annually. We have an acceptance rate of about 66%. Average SAT is about 1260, ACT is 27, but our standardized tests are also optional for fall 2021 admissions. Average GPA is about 3.6, and all students are evaluated for merit scholarships based on your application information. We also provide need-based aid through FAFSA. We do also have some special awards on the website if you're interested in pursuing one of those. And we do have a net price calculator I like to suggest to students to get a better idea of what kind of aid they might be eligible for. And over 90% of our applicants actually receive financial aid. I really like to point out that we have a 97% placement rate on graduation. The Career Center does a fabulous job working with each student individually to help them with their job search and move them into their first job in their field of study. So just really work hand in hand on them. And you can see here that the class of 2019 had a starting salary of over $62,000 a year. And one of the facts that I had one of my counselors say that I really need to highlight is that 1 of every 5 Clarkson graduates is a CEO, president, senior exec, or owner of a company. So our graduates are very, very successful and highly recruited in industry. So I just want to provide my contact information on campus and also admissions information. We do have some virtual tour information as well. You can see here on the slides with the links. Thanks so much.
Thank you for sharing your information. And now our next institution that we'll be presenting is Ithaca College. And so just a reminder, the representatives are here to answer any questions that you have. So please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A and add the institution's name to that question if you want to direct it to a specific school. So I'll hand it over to Ithaca College. Thank you.
Thanks, Annabelle. Hi, everybody. My name is Jessica Kowaleski-Dietrich. I'm the Associate Director for Regional Recruitment at Ithaca. I'm so excited to be with you this evening. I'm coming from the East Coast, so it's evening for us. So Ithaca is a medium-sized private college. We are based in the Finger Lakes region of central New York State. So we're about 4 hours from the New York City area, about an hour north of my colleagues from Binghamton, an hour south of my colleagues from Syracuse. And we're considered a medium-sized school. We have approximately 6,000 undergraduates enrolled at IC, but our average class size is only about 17. So people always say this tends to be the best of both worlds in terms of the size of the college and how you can have a foot in that larger camp, the resources that go along with a somewhat larger institution, but still have the kind of class sizes that allow your faculty to be on a first name basis with you. Our students come from quite literally all over the globe. We are what I would consider to be more of a residential campus and community. And so most of our students do indeed live on campus. Ithaca has about 100 different majors and 70 different minors across our 5 schools, those schools being the School of Business, the Park School of Communications, School of Health Science and Human Performance, Humanities and Sciences, and last but certainly not least, our founding school, which is our School of Music. So Ithaca was actually founded originally as a music conservatory. We are based within the liberal arts, but we are considered a comprehensive college as we have many other professional degree programs and things like physical therapy, occupational therapy, media, film, journalism, etc., all based, however, in that liberal arts core. Given that our founding is that of a music conservatory, we do feel that our students learn best through active practice. And so we really feel as though a hands-on approach or experiential learning is vital, regardless of on what you may actually be studying. And so many of our students do incorporate hands-on learning into their experience while they're with us. This could come into the form of research. It can come in the form as performance opportunities, perhaps in our business school, in our trading room, or in the communications school, in our television station, or student-run radio stations. But we do really value hands-on learning. Of course, internships also tend to be widely available too. And so students often are engaged in different internship opportunities across the globe, if it's incorporated through study abroad, for instance, or through perhaps working with our Office of Career Services. I mentioned earlier, our campus tends to be more of a residential community, so over 70% of our students live on campus. Our students come from all over, and they tend to be really engaged in that campus community. There are over 200 student organizations and clubs that students can explore joining. So there's really a little bit of everything for everyone, I would say. It's not that we have a heavy gravitation to one type of activity. Division III athletics are available for those who may be interested in the athletics programs, but you also have a fantastic art scene, many students who are really invested and interested in social justice and activism, volunteerism, community service. So a lot of different ways you can get involved. And then of course, you may be familiar with the phrase, Ithaca is gorgeous. We are located in one of the top ranked college towns in the country. So we share the city of Ithaca with Cornell University. And every fall, about 30,000 college students from across these 2 campuses converge onto the Ithaca region. And so the population of the city literally doubles in size. But we're really proud of the town that we're placed in. We have more restaurants per capita in Ithaca, New York than we have in New York City, for instance. And so there's quite a bit to do off campus as well. So admission to IC can be selective. We have 3 application deadlines. We're approaching our first just this upcoming weekend, November 1st. We have early decision, early action, and regular decision. Ithaca has been test optional since 2012 was the year that we actually went test optional. So this is nothing new for us this year. We do anticipate we will see a slight uptick in test optional applicants, but it will not have an impact on students' ability to be admitted or qualify for any type of scholarship opportunities. Generally speaking, we're looking for a solid B+ to an A student coming out of high school. However, we do focus very heavily on the curriculum a student's taken, and so we'd like to see students challenging themselves within their own capabilities for sure. There are quite a few different opportunities to qualify for financial assistance at IC, so we recommend casting a very wide net here. So we offer merit academic scholarships, we offer need-based financial aid, and then we have a few scholar programs that students can apply for beyond that. With that being said, let's take a quick 1-minute tour of Ithaca before I pass it on to my colleagues. Oops, sorry guys.
Hey, welcome to Ithaca College. We only have a minute to take a tour. Let's go.
putting my contact information up on the screen at this point. I also encourage you guys to check out our virtual visit website. We have quite a few other virtual offerings. Pass it back to you, Annabelle.
Thank you, Jessica. And now our next institution that you will hear from this evening is Rensselaer Polytech Institute. So just want to remind everyone, you're asking great questions. Continue to ask those questions as our representatives are here to answer them for you. So again, drop them into the Q&A and I'll pass it on to my colleague from Rensselaer Polytech Institute.
Sorry, I think I'm having some video issues. I'm not sure if you can hear me okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I'll do it without the video. Sorry about that. Well, thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Daniel Poole. I wish I could see you as well. But I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions here at RPI. I just want to give you a bit of an overview of Rensselaer as a whole, and just kind of give you some key takeaways that you can take with you as well. So we're based in upstate New York. We're about 2.5 hours north of New York City, but we're based in the city of Troy. Troy is a great city. Obviously, I'm slightly biased on that front. It's right on the Hudson River. It's an old Victorian city. And it's called a walking city, so it's very easy to navigate around. There's 200 different unique shops, restaurants. They do a farmer's market on the weekend. There's a lot of live music in the area as well. There's also a large number of colleges and institutions in the Capital District region as a whole. So it's a younger demographic, and the amenities, the events put in place around the general area, they're geared towards that younger demographic as well. So I want to draw your attention to a phrase, New Polytechnic. So this is a phrase coined by our president, Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson. So she was the first African-American female to receive a PhD from MIT. She worked with the Clinton administration, the Obama administration as well, and she's been with Rensselaer for around a decade now. So the phrase New Polytechnic is that we feel like any future discoveries, they're not going to happen siloed in your specific course of study. They're going to happen where those industries, where those courses of study intersect and overlap. So at Rensselaer, that's a focus of our institution as a whole. So we have 5 distinct schools, which you can see there. About half of our students join us for the School of Engineering. Around 30% of our students will join us for the School of Science. And the remaining schools, the School of Architecture, Humanities, Arts and Social Sciences, and the Lally School of Management will make up the remainder of those student body. There's kind of a unique intellectual synergy on campus. So we don't want to teach you something which is going to be antiquated in the next 5 to 10 years. We want to teach you core competencies in your chosen course of study to allow you to be intellectually agile and kind of really evolve with the global landscape. And that gives you the flexibility to take classes in these different schools. It allows you to dual major, to double major or minor in the different disciplines as well. We also offer what we call a co-terminal program, which is an accelerated Bachelor's of Science with a Master's of Science, which will be over a 5-year period instead of the traditional 6. Your financial aid and scholarship will last through that 5th year as well. Don't worry, we don't expect you to figure out if you want to do your master's prior to graduating high school. That's something you can do once you're with us as well. So just to run through our different schools briefly. So the School of Architecture, we offer 2 different courses of study. A Bachelor's of Architecture is where you're going to be that principal design lead upon graduation. We also offer a BS in Building Science, which is a 4-year program, and it's more focused on the materials you're using in a structure, the environmental impact of a structure, and also how that building and those materials are going to impact the people using that industry as well. Another big focus at Rensselaer is hands-on learning. That's not just in the School of Architecture, that's within every single discipline on campus. So with the School of Architecture, there's a study abroad program, which is available to all students across the campus as well. We have fabrication shops. We also have a CASE Center, which is an architectural think tank in Brooklyn, New York, which students can do as a semester as well. Again, coming in undeclared, which many students do, they do have the option to take 1 credit courses. So this is not just in the School of Engineering, this is in a multitude of different schools where you can get a little bit more of an insight into the outcomes of those programs, what it entails in terms of course content, and connect with faculty as well. And still with that same focus on the hands-on learning, you have access to wind tunnels, centrifuges, aeronautical manufacturing. You have a 15-week capstone project as part of your School of Engineering as well, where you're working with real-world industry issues and then presenting them back to that company as well during that time frame. So all students coming into Rensselaer, regardless of their major, will take 24 credits in Humanities, Arts and Social Sciences too. That way you can have a broader concept of how your STEM field impacts the society as a whole and the global economic impact as well. And within the School of Science, we have students joining us for pre-med focused. We have an accelerated 7-year physician scientist program. We have students joining us more for a research focus as well, and students on that next step with academics. The big focus of Rensselaer is that research focus too. So we have that flexibility in your course of study, but also 80% of students at undergraduate level will participate in undergrad research. And there's around 100 million set aside each year for that. And you can start that as early as your second semester. So many students prior to graduation, they're actually published in terms of their research. So when you're taking that next step, either be that into industry or into the research field or into academia, it kind of gives you that extra step forward. And one last thing I wanted to highlight was the ARCH program. So this enables students in their junior year to have an away semester. So your course curriculum is set up so you can do a 6 to 8 month co-op with industries across the country and internationally. We assist you with finding these positions through the Career Center for Professional Development. If you're more research focused, you can utilize that time for a research focus as well. There's also a big startup culture on campus too. So if you're looking to start your own business, we have a business incubation center which can assist you with that process too. And then in terms of student life, we have 200 different clubs, organizations. Around 20% of our student body will participate in Greek life. We have a very diverse student body with students joining us from all 50 states and around 18 countries. We have 21 D3 sports and 2 D1 sports too. In terms of applying for this upcoming year, we do have early decision, but we also have early action for the first time this year. We are test optional. In general, we're looking for students with a biology, chemistry, and lab-based physics, at least through pre-calculus. And then from there, looks like my time is up. So apologies about the issues with the video. I'll drop my email address in the contact as we go, and I will start right now.
Great, thank you. And if you have any additional questions for this institution, please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A. Our next institution that you will be hearing from this evening will be Syracuse University. And again, questions are, representatives are here to answer your questions. So I'll pass it on to Syracuse University.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Jessica Schaffner. I'm an assistant director with Syracuse University. I'm so pleased to be here, talk to you a little bit more about some of the options available at SU. So I always like to start off talking about the university in our location. Not everybody has the chance to visit beautiful central New York. So if you are unfamiliar with where Syracuse University in Syracuse, New York is overall, we are located smack dab in the middle of New York State. You can definitely see it here overall. We're located about 4.5 hours from New York City if you ever have gone into more of that major metropolis area. Now, when I'm talking about the university, especially as ourselves as a campus community, I always like to talk about the type of campus you can really expect with us. And so, as I mentioned, Syracuse University is located in Syracuse, New York, which is a small size city of about 100,000 residents overall, large enough to give students all the amenities of a city, things like an international airport, Amtrak station, Greyhound bus station, all within 8 miles of campus. Students are fairly easily getting internships and shadowing experiences within the Syracuse, New York area, especially since almost all of our 200 majors do require some sort of internship, research, or field work in order to graduate. Outside of that, we do have 2 main downtown areas, Armory Square and Westcott. Westcott in particular, a lot of our off-campus students do tend to live in those areas, populate more of the artsy areas, if you will. But what's great is when you come back onto campus, you still have those amenities of a city, but you feel like you're a traditional college student. You can see from this overviewing picture is that we have what's called an enclosed campus. I promise that doesn't mean we have barriers around us. It purely means that you can think of ourselves as almost like a big circle or an oval. And everything on the interior of that circle is really for our students. So you're going to have your academic buildings, your residence buildings, your student service buildings, all in a one-stop shop location. But as soon as you walk out of that circle, you're really in the city of Syracuse, New York. So I always like to say it really does give students the best of both worlds.
But when we're thinking of ourselves as an academic institution, we are considered mid-size. We have about 15,000 undergraduate students overall. I'm sure you're probably a little bit sick and tired of hearing mid-size after all of us are very different sizes, but you can really think of 5,000 up to 20,000 undergrads is considered in that mid-size area, which is always fun to think about. But when we're thinking of ourselves at Syracuse University, please know those 15,000 undergraduate students are going to ultimately be comprised of 10 different schools and colleges. I'm a visual person, so I love to be able to show what those 10 schools and colleges really are. And so ultimately, when you apply on that common application, you do need to designate one of these 10 schools and colleges. What's great though is that for almost all of these schools and colleges, you really have the option to go in undecided. Those are the ones marked with an orange asterisk next to it. And so when we're thinking of the breakdown, two of those colleges, which are on the same bullet point here, the College of Arts and Sciences and Maxwell School, are both our liberal arts colleges. So they're going to house our social sciences, humanities, natural sciences, and mathematics programs. It also houses our largest undecided pool because of the flexibility. Whereas the other 8 schools and colleges offer more pre-professional tracks. And again, most of them you can apply undecided to. So you can know you like communications or business or engineering, but take some time to figure out which major fits you best. Overall, our students do come in with a lot of flexibility. Our average student changes their major twice by the time that they graduate. About 40% of our applicant pool ultimately applies in undecided, and hundreds of students will transfer between the schools and colleges really by the end of their sophomore year. So please know you have the flexibility to really figure out what you're interested in. We encourage our students to explore not only their specific major, but the entire university. And so know that you can take classes across all the schools and colleges and even do minors or secondary majors across those schools and colleges, again, to really make sure you're exploring what is most interesting to you. Now, I kind of said that our community is the best of both worlds, but I also like to think of our size as the best of both worlds as well. And that's because we're able to offer all the large scale opportunities, resources, and connections that a large institution can. With the number 15,000 and our name recognition, that brand of Syracuse University takes our students places. But at the same time, because we offer the 10 schools and colleges, we're ultimately able to offer a much smaller school experience than you would assume. For example, 60% of our classes are taught at under 20 students, but even more so than that, 90% of our classes are taught at under 50 students. And so while that average sits at 26 students, to be honest, I think those other 2 stats are a little bit more telling. All of our classes are going to be taught by faculty members. You'll never be taught by a TA or a graduate assistant. Every single one of our students across 200 plus majors get 3 advisors when they come into the university. And so you'll get your academic advisor, your peer advisor, as well as your career advisor to really work you through what is my passion and how do I turn that into a profession. But then on the opposite end, Syracuse is an R1 research institution. So we're one of about 120 colleges that do offer that research heavy experience. And so I really encourage you to look at the breadth of opportunities that Syracuse University does have to offer. And if you do have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I am more than happy to help however I can. So thank you.
Great. And the next institution that you'll be hearing from is Union College.
Okay, great. Share my screen. Oops, that is not what I wanted. Sorry.
And this is the last institution for this session. So feel free to continue to ask your questions in the Q&A for the representatives, and I'll hand it over to my colleague from Union College.
Okay, great. Thank you. And good evening, everybody. My name is Sonia Broren. I am an admissions dean for Union College. And I'm here located here in the California region. Oh dear. All right, so it's shifting. There we go. Okay, so Union College, we are probably the smallest college here this evening. We are a small liberal arts and science college with just around 2,200 students on our campus. We are located in Schenectady, New York, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But I always like to talk about a little bit about the history of Union College. We're the second oldest college in New York, but we were the first college in the United States to be non-denominational, meaning we had no religious affiliation. And that was purposeful by our founders because they wanted to welcome everybody from all backgrounds to our campus. And this beautiful building here with the dome, that is the Knott Memorial, which you'll often see in a lot of our materials. It's an absolutely stunning building. It's a 16-sided building that, again, was built in the 1870s. And you can see it has an Islamic dome, has Hebrew and Christian lettering symbols. And again, that building was meant to say everybody is welcome on campus. And today, Union still has that reputation of being one of the most inclusive campuses in the country. Oops. So the power of connection, we often like to talk about our faculty and the close relationship that you'll have with our faculty. Many of our faculty could be teaching or could be at think tanks or working at large engineering firms or banks, but they choose purposely to work with the 18 to 22-year-olds. This is their passion. And the class sizes are going to be nice and small. 21 is the average class size for an introductory course and 14 for the more advanced classes. And you'll really get to know your faculty members. They stay well after office hours and classroom time. They'll even meet you for a cup of coffee if you want to go over a project or a research project. They are always available for you. Now, a little bit about our academics. Academics at Union. So we have over 58 majors and minors in which you can participate in. And we talk a lot about the integration. So 50% of our students will major in a STEM field, and the other 50% will major in humanities, social science, and the arts. But oftentimes we see those two areas be combined. 80% of our students will do more than one major. So they'll do oftentimes a double major or a major and a minor, a major and a double minor. We leave it up to you what you want to major in. You don't have to declare your major until the end of your second year. In fact, you can come into Union completely undecided. You'll be in good company because many of our students do come in undecided, and they explore during their first year. We are on a trimester system, so that means we have 3 terms, and each of them are 10 weeks. And most of them you'll take 3 classes as opposed to 4. And our students do like that fast-paced, intense pace to the program. And you'll, like I said, you'll have 9 classes for each year. I also want to mention that Union is ranked number 5 in the country for women in STEM. And the building there with that young woman is, we just had an extension to our engineering and science building, $100 million extension, absolutely stunning. And speaking of engineering, we were the first liberal arts and science college to include engineering in our curriculum way back in the 1840s. So today we have 4 ABET certified engineering degrees in mechanical, biomedical, electrical, and computer. So your academic experience is going to go well beyond the classroom. 80% of our students will do original research. Again, you won't be competing with any graduate students, and it's very easy to get a research opportunity. 60% of our students will study abroad. We have over 30 programs, and then internship opportunities. 75% of our students will have at least one before they graduate. And just because we're in Schenectady, New York, which has 75,000 citizens, a fairly big town, we do have 50 internships within walking distance. And we are 20 minutes away from the state capital of New York, and we have free busing up to the state capital. So there are many opportunities available in Albany as well. So when you're not studying, there's so much to do on our beautiful campus. There's over 150 clubs. We are Division III sports, except when it comes to ice hockey, we are Division I for men and women. Lots of theater groups, musical groups, you name it. We have just about everything. A lot of community service. And we have something unique to Union. It's called the Minerva House System. And we have 7 houses in which all of our students belong to. And the 500 events are put on between the 7 houses, and it's just so much fun. There's a lot of food focus for sure. Okay, I'm going to skip through because I see that we are running out of time, but I want to talk a little bit about the admissions process. That we have been test optional for 13 years now, so you do not have to submit test scores unless you're applying for our LIM program or our 3+3 accelerated law program. And we do meet 100% of demonstrated need and for need-based aid, and we do offer merit scholarships. So I will leave it there because we're out of time, but thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, and thank you to all the institutions who have presented this evening. I know we have just a little bit of time left for any last minute questions that you have for our representatives. They're here to answer your questions, so please drop them in the Q&A and they'll be more than happy to answer those. As I mentioned, we have just several minutes left. If I can have all the institution representatives, if you can come back online. And one of the things that I know institutions love, or I'm sorry, not institutions, but students love to hear about is, the traditions that are so important to your institution. So if you can just take about 30 seconds, we'll go kind of a round robin. And if you can share just one of your favorite traditions that's within your institution that will help the students kind of place themselves, at your campus and in that, specific experience. So I'll go ahead and start with that presented Binghamton University, and then we can go in the order in which we presented. So just 30 minutes, I'm sorry, not 30 minutes, 30 seconds. And do you want to go ahead and get started?
Sure. So a lot of our traditions are actually housed in our residential life communities. I think school-wide, we have a weekly tradition of Green Day Fridays that all of our staff, faculty, and students can participate in because green is the school color. But some of the traditions that are within our residential life communities, for example, one of our buildings is called College in the Woods. So they have a tradition called Casino in the Woods, where they have a charity casino night every year. Our apartment communities have a tradition called Groundhog Eve because there are many groundhogs near them. So that's their unofficial mascot. So on the eve of Groundhog Day, which I think is for February 1st, they do have a little party that they, have among their own apartment communities. We have another apartment called Newing. They have what's called Newing Navy. So this is where they have competitive puzzles and games and sports between the different floors and building of that community. So a lot of our traditions or rather the residential life communities are kind of the custodians of our traditions here at Binghamton.
No, that sounds like fun. I'm sure the students really enjoy that. Clarkson, just 30 seconds. What is your favorite tradition?
Sure. One of our favorite is actually our big winter celebration called Cold Out and Gold Out. There actually was something similar when I went to school there, and we focus a lot of the activities with alumni around hockey, of course. So hockey is a big tradition on campus, and Cold Out, Gold Out is a good example of that. And then lastly, I was going to mention our outing club. So I don't know if this would be the tradition, but one of our most popular clubs on campus is the outing club, where students get to enjoy the outdoors, the Adirondacks, et cetera. So a lot of focus here on a rural campus on enjoying the outdoors and the weather. That's it.
Yeah. And Ithaca?
I have to go to senior swim. So we have this fountain on campus. That's our focal point. You probably saw it in some of my visuals earlier this evening. That there is a myth that if any student steps foot in the fountain, you're not going to graduate from IC. So the senior class as a whole, prior to commencement, when they finish their finals, they've finished their academic requirements, as a whole will go into the fountain together. So if you're curious what this looks like, there's a ton of YouTube videos out there, but it's a moment in time you look forward to. You see your older brethren go through it and look forward to your moment yourself.
Yes.
And it happens in May when it's warmer out.
Yes, of course. Yes. Rensselaer Polytech.
Absolutely. Sorry, I still can't see you. But the one tradition we have that I really think is great, we have a giant stairwell coming from Troy up to campus. And as all the incoming students come in, they all shake the hands of the president. And then on the way out, once they graduate, they shake the same hands as well. Another thing I like is when we come together and we play Union College. We're both D1 ice hockey, so it's always a fun point of pride when we play at the college on the other side of the Hudson. So that's always a fun event on campus.
Wonderful. Is Syracuse?
Mine also has to deal with athletics. So if you don't know, Syracuse is Division I in the ACC conference, probably most well known for men's basketball, which is often in March Madness. So the tradition, and again, I don't know if this is necessarily a tradition, but it is a staple piece of campus, is our Duke rivalry game every single year. We actually hold the national record for how many people have gone to a regular season men's basketball game at just over 36,000 fans, which is a lot for basketball. If you've never been to a basketball game like that, it is absolutely outstanding. People from all over the country come to come to this game, and alumni, different, honestly, like pop culture icons come. It is just a wonderful day to be part of the community and to really bleed orange. So I love that.
Yeah. Great. And last but not least, Union College, 30 seconds.
Okay, yes, like Daniel said, we love our hockey for sure. But I think my favorite tradition is in the spring, we have something called Lobster Fest, and every student on campus gets a lobster, and they go out into our beautiful Jackson Garden, which is an 8-acre garden. And if you're allergic to shellfish, you can have other foods. It's just a fun day of enjoying this lobster and enjoying the spring weather when it's warmer out. So it's just nice. A lot of fun.
Absolutely, yes. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for the representatives who were able to share some great information. Thank you for joining us. As I mentioned, when you close this window, there'll be a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. And also, this was just one of the many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions. And in about a week, you'll be able to find the sessions recordings as well as any other sessions recordings that you've attended. So thank you to our representatives, and thank you for attending.